What's up, everybody? Thought I'd start up a new kind of video today. I want to do a YouTube video series, basically kind of like a hiking video series. I usually spend most of my time in the warmer months out in the woods, hiking around, exploring, hunting for mushrooms, plants, all kinds of stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to take a camera with me and document some of the cool things I find, share that with you. So I was going to get out today. It's a nice sunny day. It's pretty cold still, but I'm going stir crazy. I got to get out. So I'm taking the camera with me and we'll see if we can't find anything cool. So I'm currently at a city park, kind of like a nature area. Most of the park has got paved or graveled biking and walking paths. But there's also a large section of the park that is kind of just wooded, and there's some really cool habitat out here, and this is one of my favorite places to hike around Columbia. So I'll show you some of that stuff, and maybe we'll get lucky and I'll find some oyster mushrooms. Got my mushroom knife and I got some bags, so we'll see. Kind of walking through some disturbed, kind of overgrown, grassy area, but we're about to get into some nice open woodlands and creek bottoms. About to get down into a little creek bottom I like to visit. A little valley here we're going into, and this creek right here starts up that way from a kind of like a seep or spring. It's really cool over there. But we're just going to go head down into this creek bottom and see what's happening. We'll cross over this little footbridge that's definitely seen better days. And I think we'll be able to make it. Alright, success. So like I said, it's winter and everything's dead and brown looking, but you can still find some patches of color out in the woods, especially moss. It just glows green this time of year. Nice green islands and a sea of dead leaves. Alright, this is something I'm really excited about. I said I've been going stir crazy. I really want spring to be here, and I've actually just seen one good solid sign that spring is pretty close. Alright, I don't know how well this thing's focusing, but these little slender, succulent little leaves here are the leaves of a spring wildflower that pops up really early. It's one of the spring ephemerals, they call them. But this is the leaves of spring beauty. Really cool little flower. You see there's a bunch growing here. But this pops up early spring, nice white flower. Visited by some pretty neat native bees, and yeah, so that's a really good sign. It's actually kind of scattered all throughout here. There's another one over here, and some over here, all over. And what's cool about the spring beauty, other than being a pretty cool native flower, is it's actually useful as far as wild edibles go. The succulent green slender leaves here can be used as a nibble. You could eat them fresh in the woods. You could collect a bunch, make a salad. Yeah, they're just kind of watery, not much flavor. And also, you can dig up the little tiny tubers. Some people call them fairy spuds. And there'll be a bunch of them growing where you find the leaves. And you can use those as kind of like mini potatoes. So, spring beauty, really cool spring wildflower, and it's useful. If you're out looking for mushrooms, it's always a good idea to go inspect any kind of down dead trees, standing dead trees that you see. Could be some oysters growing down there. Well, so far just a bunch of inedible tail-like fungus. No oysters yet. Turkey tail is a pretty cool fungus, not necessarily edible, but I've read people will make kind of teas or tinctures with them. So they have some good health benefits. Got a relatively flat, smooth underside. The pores are just super tiny on this. You can hardly see them. And the top of it's finely velvety. See, there's some zones of color, like blues, a little red, some whites. Not sure how good the camera's picking that up, but this is turkey tail, and you can usually find it growing on dead logs in numbers. You'll see a lot of this when you see it usually. Alright, well this giant mass of dead trees didn't have any oysters. So we'll move on to the next set. Alright everybody, still down here in this creek bottom, and I just came across a really cool plant that I want to share with you guys. I don't know if you could see it from here very well, but down here on the ground, scattered in all the dead leaves, these little patches of green. One here, a couple here, one here. I'll get a close-up of this stuff in a minute. This is cool. This is a cool find. This is actually one of the 35 different species of orchids found in Missouri. So I'll show you them right now. Alright, so Adam and Eve orchid. This is the leaf. This plant's also called putty root, but the Latin is Aplectrum hyemale, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But the word hyemale means of winter, and it refers to this plant's ability. The leaf appears in fall and stays out and persists all winter long through the snow, ice, freezing temperatures, whatever. It's alive and it's photosynthesizing all winter. And come May or June, this leaf actually withers away and dies, and the plant sends up a flowering stalk, which might get to be maybe 12 inches high. It's not a really showy orchid. You really have to be looking for it, and when you do find it, you have to look at it real close to appreciate the small flowers. But they are really cool up close, and I actually have some photos I took, which I might throw into this or post a link down below, and you can get a close-up view of the flowers. They're really interesting up close. And this is just a really cool plant. Orchids in general are cool. They're not very common, just in general, but this particular orchid I have noticed to be more abundant than others around here. I've seen this more often than others. So, really cool plant. So, I'm not gonna do this, but if I were to dig up these Adam and Eve orchids or putty root plants, the little root, if you crushed it, it puts out this really sticky, gummy substance, and that's how it got its other name, putty root, because they would use that substance to mend broken pottery many years ago. Alright, well, that creek bottom is a really cool spot to hike. Really good mushroom hunting too, typically in the fall, but last year kind of was a bust. But now I'm going to see just how out of shape I've gotten over the winter. And I'm going to hike to the next cool spot out here, and I'm going to go up this hill here, and I don't know if that looks steep to you guys, but it's steep. So here we go. Almost to the top. Whew. Good God. Yeah, definitely needs more exercise. Too much beer brewing. Alright, well, this is a really cool spot I like to come to, especially when it's growing season, spring, summer. A lot of really cool plants up here, and I hope to have more videos showing you guys those things when it's that time of season. But I think I'm going to sit here and take a breather and drink some water and soak in the sights and the sounds and enjoy being outside. And that is the ceramic food. Not sure where it came from, but it's been here ever since I've been coming to this place. Kind of like the keeper of the rock. So this place is pretty cool. Again, another spot with a lot of neat plants. This is kind of like a little glade remnant up on a ridge here. Unfortunately, it's kind of getting grown over. A bunch of little woodies, shrubs, but it's still a beautiful place. That moss just glows in the sunlight. It's intense. Check that out. This place is great. Alright, so this is a really cool moss. I think it's one of my favorites. I don't know if you can make it out or not, but it looks like it's kind of like these little miniature fern fronds. And they actually call this fern-leaved moss. I will not be going up that hill. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like I said, this is kind of the beginning of a series I want to do. I'll be out in the woods a lot more when it gets warmer. There's a lot more to see. Oh my god, check that out. I was just about to end the video saying it's too bad we didn't find any oyster mushrooms, but and I just saw this. I didn't plan this. Check this out. Oysters. That is cool. And there's a little bit tiny one starting up. Well, that's not very much at all. I mean, I don't even know if I'll take that, but I might look around this area for more. Maybe we'll talk about these for a second. Alright, well, this is the oyster mushroom I keep talking about. This is growing on a little tiny cluster on a standing dead tree here. Really small diameter tree. But as you can see, like I said, they grow in a cluster, or a kind of shelf-like cluster. You can see they have gills underneath. Definite gills. In the winter, they take on kind of a more tan or even dark brown color. I've noticed a lot of them have these cracking cap. Let's see if I can get a top view here. But that is an oyster mushroom, and really good, tasty, edible. One of the characteristics used to identify these is, one, they're always growing on wood. Always, they're not just going to grow on the ground. And two, their gills run from the tip of the cap all the way down to the base. And they don't usually have much of a stalk to speak of. Sometimes they can if they're growing on the very top of a log that's fallen over, but those gills will always go all the way down the base, to the base. So that's a good character to use. And these are actually nice. If I could find more of them, I might take them, eat them. And here's another cluster on the opposite side of this tree. This is definitely way past its prime. I wouldn't eat these. And we see on this side, fresh. So this side's kind of shaded out of the sun, so that's probably helped. Got a couple little buttons starting up here. But then on this side, in the sun, these things are drying out and getting nasty. So, and the reason I keep saying, you know, looking for oyster mushrooms, is because this time of year, this is really, you know, when you've gotten the right kind of moisture and you warm up a little bit, you could find oysters in the dead of winter. There's not many other mushrooms I know of you can do that during the winter, is go out and find them. Might be a couple, but I don't know. The oyster is what everyone comes in everyone's mind when they have a warm day in the winter. And so basically with these oysters and basically any other kind of edible mushroom, you can harvest them and give them a little bit of a wash, nothing crazy. If they look clean, they're probably fine. Saute them up with some butter and garlic, or like with these oysters, I like to dry them down and put them in jars and then throw them into stews and soups. Really good. This mushroom dehydrates really well and keeps really well. I have several jars still from last season, the season before that, really. So when you do find them, usually you find them in big amounts. You know, every once in a while you get small clusters like that, but so when you come across a nice haul of oysters, you'll be set up for a while. But they're really good, and highly recommend if you're getting into hunting mushrooms. Oysters are a good start. They're really easy to identify, taste good. So check them out. Alright, well, didn't find any more oysters, so I'll just leave those ones there. But as I was saying, thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for other videos if you like this one. Basically, I'll just be out in the woods, rambling, showing you guys stuff. So until next time, see you later.